It's Wednesday, January 7th, and we've got a pretty big severe weather setup that's going to be impacting the central and eastern US that's shaping up over the next couple of days. First, today, we do have a really conditional risk, which I actually don't think is going to pan out at all over parts of northern central Texas and central Oklahoma. This is only for a wind and hail threat, but I think there's a chance that this area might not even see any rain until Thursday morning tomorrow. Speaking about Thursday, on to tomorrow, we once again have a really conditional marginal risk of severe weather. This could potentially be for all hazards, but this is kind of like today. This is a more wait and see risk because currently what I'm seeing on the models does not really agree with this at all. But what I do think could be our biggest day is going to be Friday. Currently, we don't really have any specifics on this yet, but from what I can see, I definitely do think this could pan out and produce all hazards of severe weather and be a pretty big day. So starting today, we can see that in the morning, there is just no precipitation at all to be seen in our main risk area, but this isn't completely rare for severe weather setup days. This definitely is something we do see with storms not beginning until the afternoon. And we can kind of see that start to creep in over here in parts of far west Texas and New Mexico. We do see a blob initiated by some synoptic forcing over there. But what I do also want to point out is by this time, the sun is going to have pretty much already set. And in our main risk area, even our greater thunderstorm risk area outside of that, we really have not seen a drop of rain, maybe outside of the far western Texas panhandle. Now, this will change, though. This will continue to push eastward, but this is probably by around midnight. We're seeing our first larger line of storms move through into potentially the Lubbock area. And that's really going to be it for stronger storms hitting the Texas area. This is, of course, going to be along a cold front, a very weak cold front, though. And then behind that, we have our synoptic forcing that I just talked about, bringing some pretty favorable shear for these storms. But once again, in our main risk area, it's now very early Thursday morning. We're not really seeing much of anything. And these storms, I don't really think they have the chance to be super powerful either. I definitely do think we could see some strong gusty winds at the surface with our low level shear parameters, but the moisture and the instability is kind of just not there at the moment. And then as we push forward, now the sun is coming up on Thursday, and we see our first hints of severe weather all the way up in the OKC metro area. Definitely think this could be a possibility along this cold front. Now we're getting into an environment where our moisture and instability is better. This is right along that cold front as well, and our shear is going to be pretty solid. So I really don't think we're going to be able to see much, if any, severe weather today. Maybe I think we could potentially see some gusty winds out here in New Mexico and West Texas, but I think that's going to be pretty much it. I really am not super duper sure that a hail threat will materialize. I think the risk of that is actually pretty low, and I think we'll start seeing stuff probably tomorrow and then definitely as we go into Friday. And this is a look on a national perspective of what I'm just kind of talking about. Here we have our low pressure center kind of cyclone moving through, lots of forcing, cold front as well. Now it's Thursday, hasn't touched Texas. And then now we see Thursday morning, we're starting to get some severe weather along that cold front and warm front complex. This is going to continue to move up into the northeast until it kind of gets swallowed up by the larger system. You can actually see the hint of it here, all of our shear vectors coming down. There is actually going to be an even larger cold front, which is really going to overtake this one, continue down, and that's when we're going to see our big system probably come through Friday. Thursday is going to be a weird day where it's going to be all about timing, and you really want to be weather aware there to see if you actually do get any severe weather, because there definitely is a chance. I think that chance is going to be more maximized in the afternoon to sunset hours, though, specifically in the area that's highlighted right here for our marginal risk. So definitely want to be on the lookout for that. Then, of course, we'll cover that more in the forecast tomorrow. And then for other areas today, which I didn't really get a chance to touch on, it looks like we're going to start to see a little bit of a return of some heavy rain up here in the Pacific Northwest, specifically along the coast. That's where it's going to be strongest. And this is actually the start of the system that is going to bring that secondary cold front that I just talked about. That's going to overtake what's causing our weather today. And we're also expecting to see some precip up here in the northeast as well. Definitely think we could potentially see some snow with that. And then as we move into the day, we are going to see a couple of troughs or just areas of low pressure kind of behind our cyclone moving on shore. Definitely think we're going to see some more snow up here in the Rockies today. And to get a better look at that snow, here's what we're looking at more with total snow accumulation. Kind of like I thought, definitely seeing some snow up here in the Northeast, probably peaking in upstate New York. We have a small area which might touch double digits. Probably not, though. Probably going to be closer to 7 inches of snow in that peak spot. Mostly everywhere else is just going to be 2 inches and some flurries. And up in the higher altitudes in the Rockies and Pacific Northwest, and then even as we kind of move down into parts of Arizona and New Mexico, the higher elevations out there, maybe even some snow out there, but definitely our highest snowfall accumulation for today is going to be in the northern Rockies and Pacific Northwest. Now, so far in this video, I've definitely talked quite a bit about fronts and weather systems moving in. This is kind of a better look at what is happening today. First, we can see that cyclone that pushed on shore from the Pacific, bringing quite a bit of synoptic forcing, and then also a cold front along with it. And we can see it hasn't really reached Texas yet, already in the very, very early morning Thursday hours. And then it's going to continue to push off into the Northeast. Then it kind of combines with what caused the weather in the Pacific Northwest. We get high pressure up here. And that's when we really start to see that big dip in that actually stronger cold front push through. And that's probably when we'll see our strongest weather from this system on Friday. And then also some cold temps behind that. Definitely going to be freezing temps pushing down a lot further south than they are currently. And this is what our freezing temps are going to look like today. If I were to draw a imaginary freezing line, it's really only going to cover the far northeast, far northern US, and also the Rockies and just general higher elevations out west. If you are not north of that line, you're going to be put in the Goldilocks zone. I'm going to draw right here. This is going to be the Ozarks, the Midwest, Central Plains. And then when it starts getting a little hot is when you go south of that. So southeast Mississippi River Valley and then southern plains as well. Not too bad though. Probably going to be in the mid 70s, maybe low 80s feels like temperatures for a lot of you.